I thought I would put together a rigging work in progress video. So I don't have a fully finished rig, but here's something I've been working on for quite a while. Really make the hardest possible rig I could with this guy. Here I have it so that I can actually warp the look of the pupil so that I can create a three-dimensionality of an orb. I did have a whole lip sync rig that I had made for him, but then I made changes and it broke it. So this is just me showing you the far too detailed mouth I've made. All of those are individual teeth that can get manipulated in order to create a 3D rotation. Once I create the master controllers, there will just be a fully three-dimensional rotating mouth. So as you can see, I've made everything as hard as possible. A whole character on his chest via the fanny pack. The texture on his waistband rotates with him. It has a distortion effect, so it wraps around his waist. You can turn on and off the holes of his armbands. The holes on his shoulders automatically come off. If you pull them off, he doesn't have a hole anymore for his shoulders. This is the side of the scroll, so it's a little spirally texture to indicate the side of the bag. Going back to this overly complicated everything, there's teeth that are the bottom soles of the shoes. Those are all individual teeth that have a underlay appearance and overlay appearance. The underlays are darker, the lines get automatically removed, and that's also that it can create an automatic rotation as the character rotates when I create the master controller. Here you can see the effect of the side of the scroll a little bit better, and this is what the character actually looks like rendered. Here's a different rig that I'm working on. I haven't animated the character yet, but she is rigged. Mostly it's just the scene itself being composited and a number of effects, shaders, outlines. Here you can see it rendered. It's got a darker outline and then glows. It's to mimic the graphic style of card art where it's got very thick outer lines and etchings. What I'm trying to create here with the compositing is a multiplane effect so that you really get a sense of depth cut through this kind of magical glass of the card. And as this is a rigging demo, I thought I'd actually show some of the rigging. So this is the node view. You can see that I've put a backdrop on everything. I'm trying to make this as user-friendly and identifiable as possible. So everything is color-coded and has its own little section with its own backdrops. The head has its own backdrop. The face parts have their own backdrops, so they're all easy to find. They're easy to turn on and off. There is something else I did for my class when I was getting them to learn how to do an animal walk. I created this cat puppet for them to utilize for their tests. All of the legs automatically move. They all have deformers so that you can change the shape so you can create a much more natural looking animation. And as part of the deformers, there is a underside of beans that you can put onto the paws if you want to show the underside. All of the legs are like properly anatomically bendable. I tried to keep things very simple and generic how I've found in the past things to be for rigs so that they get a sense of how a normal production would work. There's bone deformers in the tail just because that's the simplest way to get it to work. It could have been an envelope deformer, but I find a bone deformer simpler for something like a tail for the use of a wave whip animation, because envelope deformers, they just have too many points and take too much time. I'm trying to make this as easy as possible for them. Everything moves. Right now the character is in profile, but it was designed as a 3/4 puppet, so she does have secondary eye. There isn't a front view for this because the intention was always to be a walk cycle animation. The little green dots are patches for the line art, so you can remove the lines as needed. For overlaps, you can have an overlapping line when you want it and remove the overlapping line when you don't. The balls you see floating around in the background are a bokeh particle effect that float by just to give a kind of texture to the background and give a magical effect to the cat as it goes by. Here we're just going in and looking at the actual rig a little bit. It's got an automatic drop shadow that works on the far legs behind the character, and that just works automatically. So that's going to be it for now. I'll see you when all of this is done and finalized. Bye!